Hello YouTubers and welcome to another video. Today I have a very interesting piece of kit for you, and that is the WIIM Ultra. Ta-da! Why do I have this? Well, I was looking for a way to stream music downstairs, basically connect this to my hi-fi stereo and listen to Cobas and whatnot using my phone. I think that was the initial idea. Then I wanted to also connect the TV to here, namely have Apple Music play through the TV and then come into here, and then from here to the DAC and so on and so forth. In the end, it was a lot of too much hassle and so on and so forth, so I'm really not keeping this. But before I send it back, I'd like to talk to you about it. So I also tested the WIIM Pro Plus, but the feature that I wanted from the WIIM Ultra more than any other feature was the USB output, because that makes a big difference. And the WIIM Ultra together with the WIIM amps are the only ones with that output. The WIIM Pro Plus doesn't have that output. But anyway, before I go into more detail about that kind of stuff, quality and feel. It's a fairly small box, much bigger than the WIIM Pro or the WIIM Pro Plus. I think it's, I don't know, I haven't touched or held the WIIM amps, but I think it's something that size. It's not too heavy. Remember, there's no amp inside here. Well, I guess with the digital amps doesn't really matter. Yeah, never mind. Forget that I just said that. I'm thinking amps heavy, but not necessarily. So yeah, it's a box. It looks pretty nice. I always order stuff I try to always order stuff in silver, and this one is silver, but it's got all this front in black here. The sides are aluminium and feel quite nice, but the top is plastic and it's got the WIIM symbol on there. At the bottom you got 4 little feet here, and the case, yeah, it feels alright. There is a screen here that I'm not going to show you because it's not powered. There's a dial here, which I hear is better than the previous one, because there's an indication light here on the bottom, and the indication light is like a little triangle, and before it used to turn with it and now it doesn't. It's just a slider around the edge, the outside here. There is a headphone amplifier here, which I have not tried, and here there would be a screen. Going around the back, there's quite a lot of ports here, right? So there is auxiliary in and out. There's phono in case you want to connect a turntable to this. There is a sub out, so this does a subwoofer management as well, and in the WIIM app you can adjust all that stuff. I don't have a subwoofer, but I fiddled with it and it was quite interesting. There's a coaxial out, which I tend to prefer over optical. There's an HDMI arc, and this is also part of the reason, together with the USB, that I wanted the WIIM Ultra. There is optical in and out. There's a LAN connection, a power, and a USB to connect to a DAC, and I assume that you can connect also like a hard drive or whatever to here, I'm guessing. Then you got trigger, which is quite interesting, and then you got a ground, which is also interesting. So plenty of connections here, although most of them were redundant to me, because I was really only interested in the USB out and the HDMI, and of course the LAN. So these 4 here, one of the critical ones. These, not really interested in them so much. But in terms of feel and quality, it feels nice. It comes with the remote. The remote is just a simple remote, but it works alright. The screen isn't the highest resolution screen in the world. I actually think that I would rather not have a screen and spend more money on the internal audio equipment, devices and things, rather than spending money on the screen. But that's just me, because the screen is like, it's too small to be seen from far, and if you're close, well, then why not just connect your phone or your laptop or whatever to whatever music you want to play. So So I don't really see the use case for a screen on here, and they could have used that money on better audio components, I suppose. That's my 2 cents. But you know, I think from a marketing perspective, that probably the screen is highly attractive, and you know, it's a touch screen as well, so you can adjust quite a lot of stuff using the screen there. Yeah, I just don't see the use case for it. For me in particular. Um, yeah, so it feels alright. I wish that the top here was metal as well, but it's not. But the sides is metal, and it feels alright, and it looks pretty cool. You know, it's got those, looks like an Apple device, they say, but you know, with not exactly the Apple feel when you touch it. But yes, it's got the dial here is smooth, and it's okay. Again, you don't really use this because everything's controlled via the app. I haven't actually connected this to a computer here, but why would you? I mean, I don't really get it. You know, like, because the idea with this is that it enables you to control it remotely, not. Yeah, never mind. I digress. So, usability. So, most of the stuff that you do on here is through the WIIM app, and the WIIM app is really, really good. It's got plenty of functions, equalizers, voltage output, whatever. You know, you mentioned it, sub management, inputs, outputs, whatever. It's got Cobus integration, Spotify integration, all that kind of stuff. The WIIM app is really, really good. Nice and solid. I like the UI, and it's just a really, really nice app to use. So I was really, really happy with using it either with the WIIM Ultra or with the WIIM Pro Plus. I think the WIIM environment, if you like, is a lot of what you're paying for, right? So no reservations there. It's by far the best app I've tried. I mean, I haven't tried many, but I tried the EOS app. I think it wasn't really very nice. And from what I read online, others are not nice either. But the WIIM really nails it on that. This thing here has got room correction, which is quite interesting, and I played with it. Room correction is adjusts your equalizer for the acoustics of the room, and it does work very well. In like kind of cutting a little bit of the overbass and doing some things. I used it for the frequencies below 500 hertz. I thought that sometimes when you use the higher frequencies in the adjustment, you mess things up a bit, or wasn't necessary. So it does have that, and that's really good. I think it's not like, you know, I never tried, but Dirac or Dirac is like the reference kind of like room correction software, and you get that with the Blue Sound nodes and things and more expensive gear. But you know, the fact that WIIM is offering that, and you just have to have an iPhone, I think, because it needs to know what kind of microphone you're using and things like that. So with iPhones in particular, it works really well. I think, talking about iPhones, the thing that this doesn't have is AirPlay 2. Not that necessarily that I missed it, because I was using it again through the HDMI and then the USB. So I didn't really miss the AirPlay feature on here, and I don't know why, because the WIIM Pro Plus has AirPlay, and AirPlay works really well with Cobus. You can stream like CD quality on Cobus, not Apple Music for some reason, go figure. But the Cobus actually plays very well via AirPlay. The only thing that you have to make sure is that it's connected with the cable and not the Wi-Fi, because otherwise the bitrate drops a little bit. But this doesn't have it, but it has Chromecast, which I tried. Again, not too keen on it. I think it was a little bit jerky in my usage. But really, the way to use this for best sound quality, a streamer like this, is to use the Cobus integrated app, right? So, however, using the Cobus integrated app via the WIIM app, it's not as smooth as using the Cobus app itself, but you get like those high level bit rates and so on and so forth. So yeah, in terms of controls, everything's done through the app. Really like the streaming facilities on here. As again, my most common use case was Cobus streaming here, but I wasn't really getting as much quality as with a PC straight onto the DAC. So, and more on that in a minute. In terms of sound, I haven't really tried the analog outputs on here because I tried the WIIM Pro Plus before and wasn't really impressed with it. What I wanted was the USB output here. So I was testing mostly two case scenarios. One, I was using the Cobus built-in app to stream high resolution files, and that worked really well. So this goes onto the DAC. So the signal goes through the WIIM, through the servers to the WIIM, into out the USB onto the DAC, and that is really the best case scenario for using this if you focus on audio quality, because when you use USB, it's like an asynchronous connection. So the clock on the DAC, and if you have a good DAC, it's got a good clock, is what dictates the clock of the signal rather than the clock of the WIIM. If you connect, for example, the coaxial, then it's the clock on the WIIM that has to align with the clock on the DAC, and you know that sort of a kind of like thing with clocks and timing can have a bad effect on the sound. So the USB, for me, in my experience, USB is always a better way to connect, especially if you have a nice DAC with a nice clock in there, because then it's not dependent on internal clock. And I did see a big improvement when I connected to my DAC through the USB rather than using the coaxial. So I haven't even tried the RCA outputs on here, but they're there, and you know, if they're anything like the WIIM Pro Plus, they're okay. Then they're passable. They're not like mega hi-fi or mega resolution. They're just passable. But I think the best use case for this particular device is the USB out. The WIIM amps, the amp and the amp Pro also have a USB out. So if that's what you need, then that's that. I actually considered getting a WIIM amp, although I don't need the amp, just to get the USB out of it. And also, I don't know if they have HDMI in. Yeah, they probably. I think they do. But yeah, so I tried to use Apple Music on Apple TV, connected to the TV, and then from the TV onto HDMI here, then out the USB onto the DAC, and it worked pretty well. But as soon as I connected my laptop directly to the DAC and did the streaming that way, the sound was just a lot better. And actually the sound was also better with the laptop connected directly to the DAC rather than using the built-in kind of Cobus streamer on here. So, you know, from that moment on, I was like, okay, if all I need is to connect the laptop to the DAC in the living room, then I can just connect, just get a wireless trackpad and keyboard, and then I will manage my streaming using the laptop, because then you connect the HDMI of the laptop to the TV, and that was that, and that's how I was getting the most sound. If that's not appealing to you, then you can use one of these, and the sound is really, really nice. I mean, yeah, it's a streamer, right? And if you're gonna use the USB out on here, you're gonna be very happy with it, you know. Again, you're not gonna be using the native Cobus app in this case, but you can use the native Tidal app, I think. I don't know if it's Tidal, but there's a few services like Spotify that's got the Connect, but I wouldn't use Spotify. If you're concerned about sound quality, don't use Spotify. There is a big difference, you know, unless your gear doesn't really justify or you don't care about it, you know. But I'm going at this from like maximizing sound quality, and I just didn't see, after I connected my laptop to the hi-fi downstairs and noticed that the sound was so much better, I didn't have a use case for the WIIM anymore. I mean, it looks nice, it's nice, the adjustments, room correction is all very nice to have, but I was getting better sound with the laptop. So for me, it really didn't work. But in terms of a piece of equipment, if you're out in the market looking for a streamer, I think this is hard to beat, you know, because the app is absolutely fantastic. The sound is really good, and is especially good if you use the USB output. So you can't really go wrong with this. So I'm really happy with this. Unfortunately, it just doesn't fit my flow or the way I listen to music these days. So and of course, one of the doors that this opens is like multi-room streaming, right? So if you have a WIIM in the living room and a WIIM in the kitchen and a WIIM elsewhere and so on and so forth, then you can do the multi-room situation, which I think was quite appealing to me, but maybe in the future, not right now. So that's my review / opinion of the WIIM Ultra. A really great device. If you're looking for a streamer, you can't go wrong with this. Comparing to the WIIM Pro Plus, the main difference for me is that it's got the USB out. That makes a big difference. And of course, if you want to use this in the living room, it's useful to have that HDMI here as well. So yeah, so that's my 2 cents. That's my opinion / review of the WIIM Ultra. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my subscribers. Take care.